Hey everybody, this is Anthony with VR Game Rankings, and welcome to another new episode of our daily vlog series. It is Thursday, November 30th, and this is episode 43 of our daily vlog series. And I have a handful of news stories, not too much, and then I might want to get into a little bit of game discussion. Of course, I say this every time, and then a lot of times I don't actually get into the game discussion, but I think we actually will get some game discussion today. So you can look forward to that a little bit later in the show. But let's go ahead and get into the handful of news stories that I do have for you. Okay, so the first news story to hit is that there is a new VR experience that is coming to us from the UK's BBC network. This is somewhat similar to the Mission ISS experience that came out on Oculus Rift earlier this year. And this is Home, a VR Spacewalk, and it is available now on Steam. So you can go to Steam right now. You can go ahead and download this. It is completely free. And I'll go ahead and read what they tell you on the Steam page for this. Basically, they say, throw yourself into the void 250 miles above Earth in this award-winning VR spacewalk inspired by NASA's training program and the astonishing experiences of its astronauts. Home puts you at the center of the story, taking you on an emotional and personal journey while delivering beautiful, heart-stopping, and memorable moments. Okay, so this is another one of these free experiences, and I can tell you that one of the things that we should be thankful for from a VR standpoint is we really are showered with a lot of interesting free VR experiences. And I don't think this is going to last forever. I think this is one of these things where, while VR is brand new, and a lot of these companies are trying to figure out exactly how they're going to approach this, exactly how they're going to tackle this, they're doing a lot of experimentation. And so a lot of times companies are basically giving this stuff away for free because we're so new. We're so new in this VR thing. We're just getting started, and they don't want to put a price on it because then a lot of people aren't going to experience it. A lot of people will say, might be good, I don't know, but I'm not going to buy it. And so they're making these things free, and we have a lot of great free stuff that we can sample. And this is another one of these free things where the graphics look incredible. I mean, from what I've seen on the Steam page, I don't know that it's actually going to look quite like that. We've seen a million times with various trailers how things can look so incredible in the trailer, and when you get the actual headset on, it's much lower resolution. Everything is a little bit more fuzzier, and it just doesn't have the look that it had in the trailer. So we'll have to see how good this is. I can tell you, of course, that the Mission ISS, which I believe was developed by Magnopus, that experience, I think it's exclusive to Oculus Rift, but I'm pretty sure that you can experience it through Revive just fine. In fact, I believe the first time I played it was through Revive. The Mission ISS thing is really cool. You're able to kind of explore the International Space Station, and you're kind of grabbing onto things and pulling yourself along, kind of Echo Arena style, and you get to explore that space station. This is going to be relatively similar, except this one I think may have a little bit more outside the, actually in space itself experiences in this one. I'm not sure how long this lasts. Now, some people might say, Anthony, why don't you try out these experiences before you record your show? And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, I would have Jeff Gerstmann Oculus face when I do this show if I were to try VR stuff in the morning before I record this show. I do this show relatively early in the morning. What happens is my daily routine, I get up, I check out all these news stories, I try to figure out what are the best news stories to talk about and then put those together, and then I go ahead and record the show. And if I were to actually stop and start doing some VR stuff, my beautiful hair would get all messed up and I would have this Jeff Gerstmann face, and I don't really want to do that. So Unfortunately, unless I hear about this stuff the previous evening and I have enough time to jump in and try it out, I'm probably not going to be having the actual experience on the day of our daily vlog. So tomorrow, I will definitely have tried this and I will be able to give you my thoughts on it. But that's just why I don't try these things in the morning. It'd be nice. I'd like to, but it would just delay everything quite a bit. Don't really want to do that. But yeah, this experience looks pretty cool and it's definitely something worth trying. We've gotten a lot of good free experiences recently, and this looks like another one. Now, it has been stated here that there is an updated build for this with Rift fixes. So a number of Oculus Rift players have jumped into this and had some problems with it, but supposedly that has been fixed. So if you have an Oculus Rift, you should be able to jump into this and it should be able to work okay. I will know firsthand after I record this show. I'm downloading this actually right now as we speak, and when this show is over, I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. And so I'll definitely be talking about this tomorrow, but it's always good to see these free experiences, and I hope that a lot of the VR gamers out there actually take advantage of this stuff because there's so many good stuff. I always see reports of brand new Oculus Rift owners, brand new HTC Vive owners, and they're asking, what should I play? I've tried a couple of these things. I mean, they must not realize that there's all this other extra stuff, because honestly, if you knew about all this stuff, it could be weeks before you would come on to Reddit saying, I've tried everything, now what? And that's what a lot of people do. But you can go to vrgamerankings.com, and we do have a listing of the best VR experiences. We have like the top 30 Vive VR experiences, the top 50 free Rift games and experiences. And so we have a number of lists that you can look at that kind of highlight what the best VR experiences are out there. And there's a lot of great ones. So it's not, virtual reality is not just gaming. There are great experiences to try, and I highly encourage everybody out there to go ahead and try a lot of this free stuff. And don't just limit yourself to games, because you're really limiting yourself if the only thing you look at is actually the VR games. Okay, the next news story I have is Star Wars Droid Repair Bay. Astromechanic for the Resistance. Okay, so this is coming out on December 6th. This is something that was just announced yesterday as far as I can tell. And this is coming to us from Lucasfilm and ILM X Lab. And like I said, it's coming on December 6th. Now, this is going to be on Steam, and it's also going to be on Gear VR. Basically, in this experience, you're on General Leia's ship with BB-8, and you need to quickly repair BB-8 as well as some of his other droid buddies, and to get them ready so that they can help the Resistance in their fight with the First Order. Obviously, this is somewhat of a promotional production that is for The Last Jedi, which of course comes out on December 15th. So a lot of times when we get these big movies that are coming out, we will get some type of promotional thing. We saw this with Blade Runner 2049 Memory Lab, Ghost in the Shell. A number of big high profile movies will have some type of little VR experience, or maybe a 360 video that you can partake in to kind of hype up the experience. And that's what we're getting here with Star Wars Droid Repair Bay, and that comes out on December 6th, so we'll be able to look forward to that next week. Having seen the video of this, I can tell you that it looks a lot actually like Robot Repair from the lab. We've all played Robot Repair in the lab, and you know how you pull out that robot and it shows all the parts of the robot. And it's obvious that ILM X Lab, the people that have designed this, are very familiar with Robot Repair from the lab, because when you watch this video, you'll see that there are some very similar things to that. But what this experience looks like it conveys is there's a lot of humor and comedy that looks like it's kind of thrown into this as well. Whenever we look at the various droids in Star Wars, what it kind of reminds me of is, how we'll have these movies where there's like a dog or a cat in the movie, and they make the dog so cute and they make the cat so cute, and they kind of almost make it like a person with its little personal quirks. And it's kind of like in Star Wars, they've done that with the droids. And it's almost like the droids are like a little dog or a cat. And it's like, oh, they're so cute. Look at the little cute things they do, the little cute noises they make, the way they move. And that's kind of what they do here. And you're going to be repairing these droids and trying to get them ready so that they can help. You're basically under attack, I think. On this ship, you're on the ship, you're under attack, and you got to quickly repair these droids. You're the astromechanic. You're not actually going to get out there with your own laser blaster and start taking on the bad guys. You're staying where you are, and you're just trying to repair these droids as quick as possible. So you're kind of like under pressure. You got to quickly repair these droids. There's probably a lot of comedy with it. We'll have to see ultimately how this thing shapes out. The thing is, we've had Trials of Tatooine was one of the very first VR experiences that we got from ILM X Lab. And I remember when that first came out, there was so much hype and excitement about Trials on Tatooine, and it kind of disappointed. A lot of people weren't that impressed with it because what happened with that is once you got into it, you were into it for a couple of minutes and then bam, it was over with. And you're like, oh man, it's over. That's it. It did have some good stuff. I thought there were some good parts of Trials of Tatooine, but they were extremely brief. And so you didn't get a lot of time to spend in there. So hopefully this one will be a little bit more fully featured. I mean, it's not going to be a long, detailed experience. I doubt that. But hopefully there is a little bit more to it compared to Trials of Tatooine. And hopefully Star Wars, I mean, let's face it, Star Wars in VR is like a match made in heaven. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to future Star Wars experiences in VR. I've said it before. I want to walk down the hallways of the Death Star. You know, I want to see the side walls of the Death Star and like the droids walking by and the stormtroopers walking by. Maybe you're like dressed up as a stormtrooper so they don't know what you're doing there, and you're just kind of there. You're just experiencing the Death Star. That would be so cool. And I'm sure we're eventually going to get stuff like that in VR. And so Star Wars Droid Repair Bay is basically a little promotional thing, but it should be pretty cool. So we'll definitely check that out. That is, of course, next week on December 6th. So we're going to have to wait a little while for that. Okay, Intel Thru VR is bringing NFL experiences to VR. Now, when I first heard about this, I was incredibly excited. I've said this before, more so on the VR Roundtable podcast, that I am a big-time fan of NFL football. I don't really watch much sports. I don't watch NBA. I don't watch Major League Baseball. I really don't have time to watch hardly any stuff, but the one thing I do watch is I do watch some NFL football. Usually just on Sunday is when I get a chance to watch it. Don't typically get to watch it the rest of the week. Like Thursday night games, I miss that a lot of times. I miss Monday Night Football a lot of times. But on Sunday, I do spend a lot of time watching football. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of the things that I'm into. And I'd love to combine VR with NFL football. I've talked about 2MD VR football. It's this game that came out from Truant Pixel. It's actually a pretty cool game, pretty fun game. And I'm looking forward to actual VR football games getting better and better as time goes on. But there's this other side of VR where I always thought, I remember before I ever got my first VR headset, I thought that we would be watching a lot of sporting events in VR, and I thought that that might really be the killer app to get it to the mainstream consumers out there. Like my vision of it before I knew anything about it, I thought, you know what they're going to be able to do? They're going to be able to have these cameras on the field, and it's going to be like you're floating 3 feet behind the quarterback and you're just floating in air, and you see the quarterback and he hikes the ball and you get to see how everything develops, and it's going to be so incredible. I mean, people will not be able to resist this. All sports fans around the world, they're not going to be watching sports on a TV screen anymore because this is just going to be too powerful for that. Well, the downside of it is that when I actually got VR and I actually tried out a lot of these little video apps, I saw samples of different stuff like a soccer game or a baseball game. Not the full game, but just a few minutes of it. And I saw it like 360 video style, like you're standing on the sidelines and you can see cameramen and you can see reporters and you can see players that are standing around you. And then you kind of see what's going on the field. But what I learned really quickly when I was watching all of this stuff is that the resolution was just garbage. I mean, it looked like the whole entire thing looked like the YouTube videos from like 2006, 2007, when everything was pixelated and everything was blocky and chunky. And that's kind of how it looked. And so when I first saw this stuff, I thought, this isn't ready for prime time. This isn't going to work. Now, I'm not sure if that's a case of the lower resolution that we have in these headsets, or is it the camera technology that we're using to try to record these events, that the camera technology just isn't up to snuff, and maybe you would have to download just absolutely enormous video files to try to give you quality that can really surround you like that. But what Intel has done here is supposedly they have some innovative camera technology. So what they say here is custom VR experiences, personal points of view, real-time stats and updates. All these features are part of the Intel thru VR experiences. Pick your unique vantage point and watch the action in amazing virtual reality. Innovative camera tech. Go from couch to courtside. Intel thru VR uses a series of multi-camera pods that eliminate distortion to create a natural viewing environment from the angle of your choice. Powerful processing. The perfect view is a seamless one. Intel thru VR camera pods generate up to 1 terabyte of data per hour and use fiber optic cables and high compute servers to stream VR content in real time. Okay, so I saw this today and I was looking at the website and it looks really cool. And I was like, oh man, and they show a number of NFL games that have already been recorded with this technology. I don't think it's the full game. I think they give you snippets of it, like highlights and stuff like that. But still, I thought, hey, this would be super cool to check this out. Well, guess what? It's limited to the Gear VR and Daydream right now. So you cannot watch any of this stuff on an Oculus Rift. You can't watch it on an HTC Vive. And this has been the case for quite a while. We've seen a lot of this stuff. Next VR has done a lot of NBA stuff, but it's only on Gear VR. It's only on the mobile headsets. You can't get it on the standalone like the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. And I don't understand why. Why is this being limited to only the mobile VR stuff? Why can't we watch this on our higher end equipment? I'm not really sure what the deal is. It's some kind of licensing legality thing. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the NFL and the NBA, where they like the idea of it being tied into mobile rather than being on the computer. Maybe they think that they can't monetize it on a computer as much as they could if it's on mobile and it's just some app and you pay like 99 cents or whatever for these different experiences. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but we can't get it. We can't get it on the Vive. We can't get it on the Rift. Now, there is a tiny bit of good news in this category. Next VR does have an app for the PlayStation VR. So now you can actually check out some stuff on the Next VR app on PlayStation VR. I think they had some like Major League Baseball games. They had like some demonstrations of that was on there. And what they'll do is they occasionally will give you a free game. You have to be like subscribed to like the NBA League Pass and pay all this crazy money to get like every NBA League game. And then you'll get some type of bonus which will allow you to access the VR content through Next VR. But every once in a while, they will do a free game. They will say, this game on December 12th is going to be free. Tune in for the Celtics versus the Lakers in VR or something. They'll do something like that where they'll give you a free experience where you can check it out. So at least finally, PlayStation VR gamers will actually be able to try this. But again, I haven't tried this. I haven't tried the Next VR app. But it's my opinion that unless they're doing something magically different than what I've seen before, it just isn't up to snuff. I just don't think the video quality is there. And one of the worries I have is that you can kind of spoil the overall situation if you don't present yourself well. Like if you have some non-VR person, they know nothing about VR, and you're like, hey, check out this NBA game in VR, and they put the headset on and everything is all blurry and they can't really tell what the hell's going on. That doesn't really help VR. In fact, that's like taking 1 step forward and 3 steps back, because whoever tries that, they might think, oh, I tried VR. It's crap. It's not any good. So we need to get beyond this. Hopefully this camera technology that Intel has is an improvement, but we're going to need somebody with a Gear VR or somebody with a Daydream to try this out and tell us if it's any good. So if any of you guys out there do have a Gear VR or a Daydream, and if you are into the NFL, maybe go ahead and try this thing out if you can, and see if you can get a sample of it and report back to us and tell us if is it any good, or is it the same old 360 video crap we've been exposed to so far that isn't that great. Okay, I have one other story I wanted to get to real quick. I don't actually have it listed on my list here, but I saw this on Reddit. One guy had a thread where he was talking about Fallout 4 VR, and he was saying, hey, we're really close to Fallout 4 VR. Where is the hype? Like, where are the videos? Where is the information? I was reading this thread and he was saying, look, I haven't seen any videos. I haven't seen any talk about Fallout 4 VR since basically E3. And, you know, we're getting closer and closer and closer to December 12th. And should we maybe be a tiny bit worried that we're not hearing more information about Fallout 4 VR? Why aren't we hearing more about it? And I thought about it for a minute. I thought, you know what, that is kind of curious, because normally we will see like videos and stuff, because think about Doom VFR. Doom VFR comes out on Friday, and we've seen a ton of stuff about Doom VFR recently, and we haven't seen much of anything about Fallout 4 VR. So is there a worry about Fallout 4 VR? Are we going to get to next week and we're going to hear Fallout 4 VR has been delayed till like January 15th or something? I'm really hopeful that that is not the situation. I think what we're looking at here is Doom VFR is coming out on Friday. Skyrim VR just recently came out. So Bethesda could be concentrating on both of those things. Skyrim, you know, just came out, so they're kind of concentrating on that. Doom VFR is coming out really soon, so they're kind of concentrating on that. And then once that stuff kind of fades away, maybe by the time we get to like December 4th, December 5th or so, we might start getting some new videos and reports from IGN and some more first-hand experiences of people that have tried the final versions of Fallout 4 VR. So I'm not too worried about it, because remember, HTC is giving this game away if you buy the HTC Vive. So there's kind of a responsibility there for having this thing out. If you're selling HTC Vives based on the fact that people are getting this free code for Fallout 4 VR, and it's supposed to be available on December 12th. So I'm not too worried about this, but I just thought it was kind of an interesting observation this guy made, and I was like, that is kind of weird, but I think it's going to be okay. I'm not worried about that quite yet, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Okay, so we have hit about the 23-minute mark. I don't have a ton of time, but what I will mention real quick before I get out of here, I will say that I got a code for From Other Suns. Gunfire Games did hook me up with a review code for From Other Suns. Now, I know I'm very late to the party with this. Everybody has had From Other Suns for quite some time. And I don't have a review yet or anything. And I don't even have like a serious take on the game yet. I just got this like 2 days ago. And I've been playing the game daily and experiencing it. And I'm trying to just get a feel for it. I'm trying to take my time with it. I've already missed, you know, the initial hype phase of From Other Suns in terms of trying to be like day and date with all the hype of it. That's all blown away at this point. But I still want to play this game and check it out. Now, what I've been doing is I've been going into it and actually kind of playing it like a single player game. So I've been going in there and I've been setting it up for friends. So basically any of my Oculus friends could jump into the game with me, but that's the chances of that happening are very slim. So I'm pretty much playing it solo, which I know this is not the way this game was designed to be played. But my thought process with it is that if I can learn all of the ins and outs of the game, all the different controls, the buttons, kind of the idea of the game, how the game works, get a feel for how the game works, then I will go into multiplayer sessions and start playing with other people. I just didn't want to get into a situation where I'm joining multiplayer games and I'm the one person that's causing everybody to lose and causing everybody, you know, I don't want to be that guy. So I'm trying to kind of get a feel for the game and learn the game. Now, when I first started playing this, I was pretty freaking blown away by it. And I was like, man, this is really good. And it's a damn shame that I'm just playing this now. And you know, we haven't had more discussion from Other Suns, because I was really enjoying it. I was enjoying the environments that I was in. You know, you go to these different ships and you're shooting these aliens. There's kind of like a Star Wars vibe with it a little bit, although it's kind of like episode 1 vibe, especially the robots that you're shooting in some of these scenarios. They're very episode 1 prequel style robots. Both the ones that roll around on the that are balls, they're like these balls that roll around and they pop up. I mean, they look like they came right out of episode 1 Star Wars. And so that's kind of interesting. But I like the music, I like the look of it. Everything was working pretty well. But since that very first time I started playing it, I've been having a few more problems with it. I've been getting into certain games where like the game just kind of crashes and locks up on me, or like I'm looking at my missions on your wrist. You can look at your wrist and like your missions will pop up, and it has a listing of all my missions, but all of them are just empty circles, and it's like, no, I did all of this. So I've had some weird little screwy things that have been going on that have kind of marred the experience a little bit, but I'm still very early on, so I'm not going to make any snap judgment about it, and I'm still continuing to play it, and I'm hopeful that I will learn how to play this and get a good feel for it, and then start to jump into some multiplayer and hopefully have some more discussion for From Other Suns coming up in the very near future. So I have been playing some From Other Suns, and I'll hopefully talk about that more on upcoming episodes. But anyway, guys, we've hit about the 26-27 minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and call this episode 43 of our daily vlog for Thursday, November 30th. And of course, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm definitely going to try that home of VR Spacewalk. I'm definitely going to try that today. Looking forward to that. And so I should be able to talk about that tomorrow, as well as some additional stuff tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Have a wonderful Thursday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.